On a crisp April morning, Lucas Morrow stepped onto the creaky porch of his gray-tants cabin, coffee in hand, ready to photograph herons along the creek threading his 3-acre plot. The air smelled of pine and renewal, but as his gaze hit the water, his mug shattered on the boards. Where the creek should have sparkled with minnows and crawfish, a gray concrete slab stretched upstream, dead fish glinting on its surface. Lucas, a former environmental engineer turned wildlife photographer, sprinted to the creek bed, camera documenting the ecological crime scarring his land. His pulse raced. This wasn't vandalism, it was war. Where are you reading this? Drop your wildest HOA story below, and let me tell you how a buried creek sank a corrupt empire. Lucas, 38, had inherited the cabin from his great-aunt Beatrice, a fiercely independent woman who'd guarded this land since 1947. Nestled outside Crestwood Manors, a gated enclave of million-dollar homes, his plot was a holdout against their expansion. The HOA, led by Roland Pierce, a 50-year-old developer with a slick suit and sharper deceit, had hounded Lucas for a year to sell. He'd refused 6 offers, unwilling to surrender his aunt's legacy. That morning, as he photographed the concrete, a black SUV roared up his drive. Roland stepped out, grinning like they were old friends. "Morning, Lucas," he called. "Just checking our drainage fix. No bother, right?" Lucas's jaw clenched. "Drainage? You mean killing my creek?" His voice, honed from years handling cagey clients, stayed calm. Roland's smile wavered. "The HOA voted to curb erosion. This creek flooded our homes. We're helping you." Lucas laughed, bitter. "This creek predates your mansions, Roland. It feeds county wetlands. You've broken a dozen laws." Roland's eyes flickered with doubt, but he doubled down. "Our lawyers say it's legal. Your shack's tanking our property values. Sell, or we'll keep fixing problems." Lucas snapped a photo of Roland against the concrete. "Get off my land. You just lit a fuse." That evening, Lucas pored over Beatrice's yellow deeds at her oak desk. A 1947 clause stopped him cold. Caldwell Creek shall remain unobstructed in perpetuity, with flow rights granted to downstream ecosystems. The HOA hadn't just trespassed, they'd violated a binding water rights agreement. His laptop hummed as he scoured public records, uncovering redacted HOA minutes detailing Operation Dry Run. Roland planned to choke the creek, flood Lucas's land, and force a sale when it became unlivable. The audacity stunned him, but one name stood out: Grace Harper, a board member who'd opposed the scheme. The next day, Lucas tracked down Frank Malone, the contractor named on the HOA's work order. In a trailer reeking of stale coffee, Frank's eyes widened at Lucas's photos. Roland swore permits were done, he muttered, rubbing calloused hands. "Paid me cash, 30% over rate, for night work to dodge questions. I've got kids, man." Armed with this, Lucas spent a week documenting the fallout. His old engineering tools measured rising water tables as the concrete backfired, turning Crestwood's lawns into swamps. Drone footage showed pools flooding $50,000 gardens and basements. Roland's plan was drowning his own community. Homeowners noticed. The Hendersons, whose colonial bordered Lucas's land, erupted first. "This is a bog, Mrs. Henderson shrieked at landscapers as her roses sank. By Monday, Roland called an emergency HOA meeting at the Crestwood Clubhouse, a gaudy shrine to wealth. Lucas arrived early, laptop loaded. The room buzzed with 60 angry residents, and Roland's charm faltered when he saw Lucas. "We're addressing drainage," he began, but a homeowner cut in. "My basement's got 6 inches of water." Lucas raised his hand. "Point of order, may I speak?" Roland, bound by public comment rules, nodded tersely. Lucas's slides lit the screen. Hydrological charts, creek photos, and a damning timeline. "This concrete is flooding your homes," he said. The room exploded. Grace Harper stood. "Did you secure permits?" Roland stammered. "They're pending." Grace's eyes narrowed. "The county has no record." Roland pointed at Lucas, face red. "He's sabotaging us." Lucas smirked. "I'm a photographer, Roland. The only thing I've manipulated is my camera. Your contractor, Frank Malone, says you paid cash to skip permits. Want the recording?" Silence fell. Then Sarah Vaughn, a county environmental officer, entered with a cease and desist order. "Mr. Pierce, we need to talk. Sarah sat up in Lucas's dining room, her maps painting a grim picture. I've eyed Crestwood for months, she said. Your creek's the smoking gun. Roland's firm, Pierce Realty, built Crestwood on protected wetlands using forged documents and bribes. The concrete was toxic, leaching chemicals into groundwater. Lucas's photos, measurements, and Frank's confession racked with guilt. He detailed Operation Dry Run's aim to add 12 lots at $3 million each sealed Roland's fate. By week's end, Sarah uncovered Roland's embezzlement of $800,000 in HOA funds to cover his schemes. Crestwood's homes crumbled, moldy basements, cracked foundations, values slashed. Eleanor Ramsey, whose $4 million mansion became a health hazard, hired a lawyer, sparking rebellion. Grace called Lucas. We're ousting Roland tomorrow. Bring evidence. The clubhouse crackled with fury. Leaked emails showed Roland's paranoia, blaming everyone from Lucas to the weather service. Homeowners shared losses, ruined studios, dead gardens, mold-driven illnesses. Lucas's presentation bank records, Frank's testimony, photos of survey stakes for Roland's wetland grab stunned the room. Eleanor revealed Roland's fraud history in 3 states, leaving sinkholes and debts. The vote to remove him was unanimous. As Roland stormed out, Sarah and deputies stopped him. We have questions about fraud and environmental crimes. Lucas snapped a photo as Roland's empire collapsed. 3 months later, Lucas stood in court beside his lawyer, Julia Chun, facing Roland's $10 million defamation suit. Judge Margaret Holt, known for despising frivolous cases, eyed Roland, who, abandoned by lawyers, represented himself. His claim that Lucas engineered the flooding crumbled under Julia's evidence, satellite images, environmental reports, and a video of a bribed official. Roland's conspiracy rants buried him. Holt dismissed the suit and referred him for prosecution. Outside, Sarah announced a restoration project, funded by Crestwood's insurance, to remove the toxic concrete. Grace showed Lucas a headline. Roland's firm was bankrupt, with millions hidden offshore. Weeks later, Lucas watched hazmat crews crack the concrete, the creek's trickle returning. Roland faced 7 years for fraud, embezzlement, and environmental crimes. The feds recovered $3.5 million, reimbursing homeowners. Crestwood's homes sold at half price, but a real community emerged. Potlucks replaced stuffy meetings, and Grace's bylaws curbed HOA power. Lucas's cabin, featured in magazines for sustainable living, became a symbol of resilience. His photo exhibit, When Greed Drowns, drew crowds, its centerpiece Roland's courtroom meltdown. On his porch, a heron gliding over the restored creek, Lucas mused. Roland tried to bury him, but sank himself. Justice, like water, finds its level.